Well, welcome back everyone. And if you're new here, thanks for clicking on this video and watching. I've got another adventure planned here. I left work just a few hours ago and made my way to one of the most remote places I can think of in this state, which is Sunklands Conservation Area in Missouri. You might be able to hear some noise in the background, and something I did not expect is that the road behind me is being improved, and so there's a Caterpillar grading machine. Um, So that's what that noise is. But otherwise, I haven't seen anyone here, and I'm looking forward to venturing tomorrow morning off that way to see some of the largest sinkholes you can find in the state, and something extra special that I'll tell you about tomorrow. So for now, the work week's over, and I'm just gonna hang out, probably gather a little firewood, have some dinner, set up camp next to my truck, and just hang out and relax. And then we'll start off tomorrow morning early. I've got some Starbucks Via. I was gonna try out some Japanese coffee grounds that come in a packet that you can drape over your cup and pour over, but they didn't arrive in time. So Starbucks Via it is. And once again, thanks for clicking on this video and watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have subscribed already, thank you, and if not yet, please do subscribe for more adventures like this. Or I'd be interested also to hear what else intrigues you. But for now, I'm gonna let that grader make its way down. Thanks. Oh. Yeah, way foggy. Oh, man. Well, good morning. Ugh. Another night in the bivvy. I don't think I slept very well at all, but I'm not really sure why. I remember going to sleep at about 10:30, 11, and then it seemed like there was just a long stretch of time where I was in some type of almost, almost down to sleep, but not really too awake either. My watch says I only got about 4.5 hours. That might be a little bit exaggerating, but it kind of feels like that. Anyway, here we are. Overall, it was nice and quiet, really quiet, not even windy or anything. There's a few times where I heard some coyotes doing their thing, but pretty far off in the distance. Then at one point, I heard a truck, like a pickup, and then it was making some noise and honking, and it drove by, and it saw where I'm parked, and of course, you gotta honk then too, right? Doesn't matter what time of day it is. Midnight, drive by, yeah, honk. And I guess it was just people who either maybe they live down that way, or they're just kind of driving around at night. But made me glad that I was, 20 yards or so into the woods, away from the parking area. Kind of just, staying out of sight and not getting interacting with whatever that is going on. Well, as far as conditions go, it was only supposed to be down to about 41, with a feels like in the high 30s. We've got a little bit of frost on the ground. And I definitely think it's in the lower 30s. We'll see what my watch does in a second. Yeah, that's ice. This was my little spot for the evening. The USMC improved sleeping bag cover, the bivy. And then I had a Thermarest Neo Air X-Lite. And then that thin little Bundeswehr mat. Then on the inside I had just the 3-season bag. And then I was wearing my first and second layers, plus my high loft fleece top. I had some down booties. I had that balaclava, gloves, and a couple of these bad boys. I was pretty okay. Not toasty, but pretty okay. But as I know from my last trip, that's really pushing the limits on this bag. This is really more of a 40 to 45, which is why I was okay bringing it. But that's all right. It was just a test night, kind of. And I was right there by the car, so. But I do know that tonight it's going to be, well, it's supposed to be in the high 40s, low 50s. So even if that's a lie, we should still have a lot more margin. And all this fog is going to roll out or burn off because it's supposed to be in the high 60s today. All right, let's get going with breakfast and coffee. Okay, and then there's the watch with 32, by the way. But that can't hold me back. We got 2 of these, at least. Veranda blend. I like that lighter blend from Starbucks. And a breakfast skillet. Fantastic. And the water's on the fire, on the stove. Oh yes, there we go. I'm going for it. Oh, brilliant. Oh, I'm alive. I'm alive. Yeah, you know, normally if you go to a Starbucks, they'll tell you that the light roast is, you know, they stop making it at, 7 in the morning or something silly like that. I'm just kidding, but you always have to seem to be there really early for them to have it. I don't know why they don't make it all day, because to me, it's way better and more like what coffee should be compared to their standard, uh, which is, tolerable if you're in a pinch. But man, there's so much more flavor with lighter roasted coffees, in my opinion. I kind of think that in general. So you won't find me with a dark roast, French roast, or anything like that. Look at that. It didn't even look too bad. Got a couple of other things going on too. Cholula hot sauce and some ketchup. Here we go. Mmm. Mmm. I tell you, that out here in the woods, that's unbeatable. Other than just yanking out a a griddle and making it from scratch. Mm. Mm. And that ketchup and hot sauce really turns it up. I think it was from my glove box. Thanking my past self for thinking of my future self. Okay, so I'm making my way along the route that I plotted from my parking spot. This conservation area only has a couple of official gravel roads that you can drive on, but from satellite data you can see that there's a lot of this crisscrossing around on all the ridge tops. So even though I'm pretty remote and making my way pretty deep into the forest, I still have a pretty nice trail of sorts. I can see that you could take a Jeep or a smaller SUV, definitely a four-wheeler around. The morning is definitely shaping up. The sun is bright, we got blue sky. It's just a little bit chilly still, it's great hiking. I'm carrying on. Hopefully, before too long here, I'll run into a huge sinkhole. Wow. So this is not a valley in the traditional sense. This is a sinkhole that is very long, relatively narrow compared, but it is probably, 500 yards across. If I had to guess, at least 500 yards. And it goes pretty much a mile this direction. And this is just the first point that you can see it. But that's incredible because I don't know the full geology or geological explanation, but basically the earth was not a valley there. And then through, I guess, underground water movement and so forth, like basically the roof of a cave almost, I think, would have collapsed in. And therefore the ground collapsed in. So where I am, walking around on the earth, but below me, there's probably a huge network of caves, underground waterways. I know there is, but when you think of it out loud, it's pretty crazy. There's a lot of activity underneath. Well, let's keep going. Well, no sooner did I finish saying that than I come up on the right. This thing. This is a big sinkhole, you know. If your house was on top of this, and that thing fell in, it would just swallow up the whole thing. Crazy. I wasn't sure that I was going to go down there, but it looks like others have paved the way. Let's see where this leads. Pretty much in the bottom of the sinkhole now. You can see all these kind of crappy, scrubby, I don't even know what type of plants those are, but they're kind of twiggy looking, bog-like area. But man, that ridge up there, that's where I came from. That's astounding thinking about just the volume, just how much earth moved out from underneath in order to make space for this to collapse in. I wonder if there's a huge, or was a huge, cavern region or something like that. I wonder what remains, what there was. Hope it's done falling in. I'm not really going to go any further here, but man, this is spongy. This is probably the bottom, lowest point. I could just imagine after a good rainy season, this is probably like a little lake, pond. So all that water is just going to fall off the ridge, collect here. But then I guess it percolates down through the rocks and out to the river. And of course, if you walk to look at the bottom of one of Missouri's largest sinkholes, you're gonna have to walk back up out. But this is better than scrambling up the side of that hill. Almost there. All right, now. Deeper into the forest. Let's go. Well, now, the way things are sitting, I've been walking along this ridge for probably a mile or a mile and a half. I've come up from that big sinkhole and through that nice forest. It's a little more sparse and scrubby up here, but I imagine that's because this probably gets the brunt of any storms if they happen. So basically I'm walking along this road here, and I'm gonna keep going along, heading that way to the next stop. So now I'm off the main dirt road and following a pretty good four-wheeler ATV type track into the woods. It's a little more dense now, but still super helpful to have a traveled path. Well, for once I decided to stop and have a snack and get some electrolytes and everything before I felt too worn down. So I'm stopped on the top of this ridge off into the forest, and the ATV track has pretty much disappeared. And I'm following what's either kind of a light human trail or maybe a game trail. But the sun's out still, and I think it's gonna be all day. There's a nice breeze. I'm on a big fallen log that's been decomposing for a pretty darn long time. But the MRE that I brought has made me a happy man because it's got my favorite snacks. The air-dried beef and the cheese spread with jalapenos. So I'm gonna enjoy those salty, savory snacks, and then I'll head off to my other main objective. Bless this marvel of culinary engineering. More uphill. Big uphill. This is actually a really nice part of the forest. Okay, forge ahead. Oh, we've leveled out again. Have I mentioned how much I like the pines? I know I have. They're just so pretty. There's some big ones too. Onward. More sinkhole activity. Oh yeah, now that is a big sinkhole down there. Yeah, I think that means we're getting close. Real close. That ledge. The earth just fell in to a giant cave, I bet. Oh, would you look at that? Look at that. Everyone, this is Pulltite Spring. Pulltite Spring. I've only ever seen it from this path you can see on the other side. From summertime when I would come by, like in a canoe or something, down the current river. I've never seen it like this. The little description you can find on the internet about it is that somewhere between 20 and 30 million gallons of water flow out of this spot each day from underground. So I have to think that if you could follow this back and go under all those sinkholes, you'd probably be in some huge underground cavern or waterway of some sort. So that's why I stopped by all those places, because I thought it was kind of an interesting clue or lead up to what's going on underneath. It's so beautiful. I am definitely making a coffee with this water. Guys, I know the zoom can't really get it so well, but there is a bald eagle up there. That's so cool. I'll try to get him at some point. Bald eagle. There he is. Got my Bivian sleeping bag drying out in the sun and the breeze behind me. Now, originally, this smart water bottle had water from who knows where. Made for Glaceau, Atlanta. And now, it's got natural spring water from Missouri. Ooh. That actually is very, very good. I did filter it still, though I imagine it can't be that dangerous if it's just come out of the spring. I suppose if I didn't have a filter and I really needed a drink, I would definitely not have a problem with that. It's like perfectly neutral, but yet there's this high mineral content, so it actually has sort of I don't know, a silkiness to it. Interesting. And I think in the spirit of this being some nice cold spring water, it would be appropriate to have this as an iced coffee of sorts. So no need for the stove. It would be sweltering if we were here in July or August, like when I normally do this type of region in Missouri. And I definitely don't hike then, you know? It's all about the float trip. Well, let's try this. Ooh. So that's pretty damn good. So for a while I had bought, oh, I don't know, 2 or 3 months worth of Cometeer coffee, which is made, you know, basically in a laboratory, and they freeze this little concentrated ice cube in something that looks like a Keurig cup, and then you can put that in hot water or put it in warm water and mix it with ice, or however you want to take it. And that was hands down, I mean, all that stuff was better than the coffee I can make. This isn't quite there, but this is like 90% of that. So we praise Starbucks Via instant coffee for sure, at least the veranda blend. And we praise Pulltite Spring water. That is really good. Ooh. I'd also like to thank you all for bearing with me. I know that last clip I was probably cut off a little bit at the top. I'm filming this trip with my Pixel instead of a GoPro like I usually use. I got a Pixel 8 and I thought I'd give its camera a try. It's, I think, a really good camera, and I might even like the video quality better than the GoPro at times. In fact, I think I definitely do. But I know I was clipped off, and you know, I'm just getting used to some new equipment and some new stuff like that. So that is definitely not my forte. But I am all about genuine expressions and genuine moments, so I wasn't gonna, you know, retake trying the water and all that stuff. So once again, if you've watched it this far, thank you for joining me. And thank you for your support. This is a really good day. Let me know if you know what this greenery is, because I imagine that has to live all season long, all year long, through the winter and everything. Well, Pulltite Spring is behind me now. I'm just kind of enjoying a walk back the way I came, through the forest. Kind of following along through the hills and ridges. And a lot of this ATV, four-wheeler type track stuff that I found. That's been really useful. Someone just came up the hill a couple minutes ago. Well, maybe they're headed back the way I came. I didn't really expect to see anyone like that driving through the forest. But then again, they probably didn't expect to see me. Okay, now I'm standing on the ridge that I was filming in the last clip. And right now I'm looking back where I was filming the last clip. I did not really expect the uphill and downhill to be this challenging for me, but maybe it has something to do with that 4 hours and 27 minutes of sleep, whatever it was. But we're getting it. Well, not long now until I'm back at the start. And I came through this area. It's barely a glade, but it is technically a glade. Where there's this bedrock, grasses, and a slope with some sun exposure. And yes, they usually have some pines. Well, I'll say one thing. I definitely expected to have more water in these creek beds that I've been walking through today. Obviously, we're good with 20 to 30 million gallons from Pulltite Spring, but I mean, look at that. That's really dry in here. Good thing I wasn't really depending on that. There's still some cool little bluff features here. As the wind rushes in the evening, it cools down. We're flanked on one side by one of those giant sinkholes near the start, the sunset, and another giant sinkhole. I passed the other side of this one in the morning. That can only mean one thing. I'm almost done. I didn't really expect to make it all the way back. That's why I packed a full pack with all my gear. But I'll still sleep in the woods next to the car. Get another test night on the USMC bivvy equipment. And what a gorgeous sunset. Well, I made it back just in time. The sun is setting and there's a little bit of twilight left. My Garmin says that I hiked about 12.8 miles today. I only expected it to be about 11, or maybe even a little less than that. So 2 extra miles, yeah, that's a good extra bit, good percentage of that. And there's a lot of hills, still plenty of bushwhacking, even though there was the old 4x4 roads type stuff like that. But you know, sometimes when I get it in my head that, you know, the car is only so many miles away, or the trailhead's only so many miles away, it just turns into an objective and I just go. So I'll still sleep in the woods over there, get another night in the USMC sleep system, and I'll get up early, and I actually have tickets to see Dune 2 tomorrow in the evening, so that'll give me time to go home, unpack, rest, maybe take a nap, and be ready for that. I'll have some dinner later, but for now, I'm going to enjoy this lukewarm Dale's Pale Ale. Ooh, yeah, that tastes like victory. Yeah, as I say, sometimes when you're going, something switches in your brain and it just catches up with you and you just want to keep going. I do have my limits, food, rest, how I slept last night, and all that type of stuff. But I have had some 30-mile days in my hiking career. Those were pretty crazy, you know, and they didn't have hiking the next day after that. But that's that fever where it takes over and you want to finish. So this wasn't like that exactly, but this was a really good day. I'm really glad I got to go down to the spring, get a lot of beautiful video, and just enjoy that place from a new perspective. And this is a really nice area. It's mostly forest. I was a little disappointed that the creeks didn't have much, if any, water in them, but I guess it has been relatively dry. We haven't had a ton of rain or snow, so that's to be expected. Anyway, that's enough for now. Okay, so the benefit of filming with your cell phone is you can kind of check how things turned out right away, huh? I promise I do have the top part of my head. I'll figure that out soon enough. Like I said, new gear, new system, new setup. But I am loving the video quality and how easy it is to record and all this other stuff you can do with this camera. Got some great shots of the night sky last night. All right, that's enough talking. Just wanted to tell you I didn't get, I didn't take a tree limb too hard.
You slept long enough, but your amount of REM sleep was too low. Creativity and problem solving may be challenging today. Just today? These watches are kind of funny. Well, I did sleep much better, 7.5 hours or so. Slept a lot warmer. It was between about 48 and 50 degrees. So that's definitely nice and toasty inside. 3-season bag with 2 base layers. One of these days I'll figure it out, but I just never sleep that well out in the woods. I'm always kind of in this light sleep state where I am asleep, but I almost can, it's like my brain doesn't think I am, so I always have this, it's like this really long state of napping or something. But anyway, the weather was fine, pretty still. Barely any cloud cover, so some stars again too. Not much wind, just a little breezy. So, all right. Ooh, it's time to get out of this bivvy. Okay, there's the breakfast skillet. It's looking good. On the left, we have ketchup. On the right, we've got hot sauce. And in front, we have the eating. That's so good. You know, normally I don't use the dehydrated breakfasts. I'll just have one for dinner. I'll have a dehydrated dinner. But this was a bit of a luxury, and seriously, this one is so worth it. The Mountain House breakfast skillet. Delicious. Before I get out of here, I just want to express my general gratitude for having the time and the means to come out and do things like this. I want to thank you if you've watched this video. Definitely thank you for that. I want to thank my father for jump-starting my exposure to the outdoors when I was young. And overall, I wanted to express my gratitude for having this conduit as a way to become a better person, because I've been on a lot of different types of trips, long ones, short ones, near and far. And as long as I stay open to it, there's always the opportunity to become a better person. Something about being that much more self-reliant and left without so many distractions and conveniences has such a really fast, incisive way of helping me get to the bottom of myself in a good way. So I can strip away anxieties or fears, or deconstruct anxieties and fears, and basically become, you know, a lot more alert, awake, present, and all those sorts of things. So I definitely have gratitude for that as well. This pretty much concludes what I came out here to do. So once again, thank you for watching. If you're not subscribed, please do, if you'd like to support this and more things like it. And let me know how you enjoyed this video. All right, bye now.